The Kawasaki Ninja 400 isn't just a motorcycle, it's a gateway to a world of two-wheeled freedom. Since it first hit the streets, it captured the hearts of riders everywhere. It followed in the footsteps of the smaller Ninja 300, but it brought more power, better handling and a more aggressive look. It quickly became the bike to beat in the small displacement sport bike class. Riders loved it because it was easy enough for a beginner to handle but had enough performance to keep even experienced riders grinning from ear to ear. It's a machine that doesn't intimidate you, but instead invites you to learn and grow as a rider, making it a truly special motorcycle in Kawasaki's long and storied lineup. What makes the Ninja 400 so popular? It's the perfect balance of everything a rider could want. The 399cc parallel twin engine provides smooth, manageable power that is perfect for city streets, but it also has enough punch to be exciting on winding country roads. The chassis is lightweight and nimble, making the bike feel incredibly agile and easy to turn. This combination means you feel connected to the road, confident in every corner. Plus, it looks fantastic. With its sharp lines and aggressive styling borrowed from its bigger siblings like the Ninja ZX-10R, it looks like a serious sport bike, giving its owner a huge sense of pride. It's a full package deal that offers performance, style, and accessibility. Let's talk about some of its key features, the things that truly define the experience. The assistant slipper clutch is a standout. This technology makes the clutch lever incredibly easy to pull, which is a huge benefit in stop-and-go traffic. It also helps prevent the rear wheel from locking up if you downshift too aggressively, adding a layer of safety. The bike's low seat height makes it approachable for a wide range of riders, allowing them to plant their feet firmly on the ground. The full digital display is modern and easy to read, giving you all the information you need at a quick glance. These thoughtful details come together to create a motorcycle that is not just fun to ride, but also easy to live with every day. The idea of building your own Ninja 400 might sound like a massive undertaking, but it's also an incredible journey. It's a chance to understand a machine on the deepest level, to know every nut, bolt, and wire that makes it come alive. This essay will be your guide, breaking down the process into simple, manageable steps. We'll walk you through finding the parts, putting it all together, and getting it ready for the road. Building your own bike is more than just assembling metal and plastic. It's about creating a personal connection to your ride. When you finally swing your leg over a motorcycle you built with your own hands, the feeling of accomplishment and excitement is unlike anything else. Before you can even think about turning a wrench, you need a proper space to work. This doesn't have to be a professional-grade garage, but it does need to be your dedicated build zone. A single-car garage, a spacious shed, or even a cleared-out corner of a basement can work perfectly. The most important thing is that you have enough room to walk around the motorcycle frame comfortably from all sides. You'll also need good lighting. A bright, well-lit space is crucial for seeing small parts and avoiding mistakes. Consider adding some extra shop lights or portable work lamps to illuminate your project from every angle. Lastly, make sure the space is dry and secure, protecting your parts from weather and theft. With your space sorted, it's time to gather your tools. You don't need to buy the most expensive tools on the market, but investing in a quality set will save you a lot of frustration. A comprehensive mechanics tool set is a great starting point. This should include a wide range of metric sockets, wrenches, and Allen keys, as the Ninja 400 uses metric fasteners. A good Torquey wrench is an absolute must-have. Every bolt on a motorcycle has a specific tightness or torque spec, and getting this right is critical for safety. You'll also need various types of pliers, screwdrivers, a rubber mallet, and a set of feeler gauges for engine work. These basic tools will handle about 90% of the job. Beyond the basic hand tools, a few larger pieces of equipment will make your life infinitely easier. A motorcycle lift or a sturdy stand is a game changer. It will raise the bike off the ground to a comfortable working height, saving your back and knees from hours of pain. You'll need a way to support the front and rear of the bike independently, so paddock stands are a fantastic investment. An air compressor can be very helpful for cleaning parts and powering air tools, though it's not strictly necessary. Don't forget safety gear for yourself. A good pair of mechanics gloves, safety glasses, and some comfortable work boots are non-negotiable. Your safety is just as important as the bike's. Finally, let's talk about organization. A big project like this can quickly become a chaotic mess of parts and bolts. Get yourself plenty of small bins, plastic bags, and a permanent marker. As you acquire parts or disassemble components, label everything clearly. Take photos before you take something apart. These will be your best friends when it's time for reassembly. A large magnetic tray is great for keeping track of small nuts and bolts during a specific task. A clean and organized workspace not only makes the build process smoother and faster, but also much more enjoyable. It lets you focus on the fun part, bringing your Ninja 400 to life, piece by piece. Now that your workshop is ready, the real adventure begins, the hunt for parts. You have a few main paths you can take here. The first and most straightforward path is to buy a donor bike. This is typically a motorcycle that has been in a crash and has been written off by an insurance company, often sold at salvage auctions. Look for a bike with a straight frame and a good engine, even if the plastic bodywork is destroyed. This is often the most cost-effective way to get the majority of your parts in one go, including the frame with a title, the engine, the wiring harness, and countless other small bits and pieces that would be expensive to buy separately. If you can't find a suitable donor bike, or if you prefer to build your bike from select pieces, your next stop is the vast world of online marketplaces. Websites like eBay, motorcycle-specific forums and Facebook groups are treasure troves for used parts. You can find everything from a bare frame to a complete engine, often for a fraction of the price of new parts. When buying used, it's important to be a smart shopper. Always ask for detailed photos, check the seller's reputation, and don't be afraid to ask specific questions about the condition of the part. For critical components like the engine or frame, try to buy from reputable sellers or breakers who specialize in used motorcycle parts. Sometimes, you'll need to buy new parts, and that's perfectly okay. Certain items are always best to buy new for safety and reliability. This includes things like brake pads, brake lines, chain and sprockets, tires, and all the essential fluids like oil and coolant. You can order these original equipment manufacturer, or OEM, parts directly from a Kawasaki dealership, or from online OEM parts suppliers. While they cost more, you get the peace of mind that comes with brand new, factory-spec components. For other parts, like a new exhaust or custom levers, the aftermarket world is your playground. Aftermarket parts can offer better performance or a unique style that helps make the bike truly your own. As you start collecting parts, your organization system becomes critical. When a box arrives, inspect the part immediately to make sure it's what you ordered and that it's in the condition you expected. Then, label it clearly and store it in its designated spot in your workshop. It's a good idea to keep a running list or a spreadsheet of all the parts you've acquired and what you still need. This treasure hunt phase can take time and patience, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Each part you find is another piece of the puzzle, bringing you one step closer to the finished motorcycle. Enjoy the process of tracking down the perfect components for your dream build. With a pile of parts waiting, the first real step of assembly is to prepare the frame. The frame is the backbone of your motorcycle. Everything else attaches to it. If you started with a donor bike or a used frame, your first job is to inspect it meticulously. Look for any signs of cracks, bends, or damage, especially around the welds and the headstock area where the forks attach. Use a straight edge to check for straightness. If you have any doubt about the frame's integrity, take it to a professional frame specialist. A compromised frame is a serious safety hazard, so this is not a place to cut corners. Once you're confident the frame is straight and sound, give it a thorough cleaning. Now you can focus on the first major components to be installed: the swing arm and the rear shock absorber. The swing arm is the part that holds the rear wheel and connects to the frame via a large pivot bolt. Before you install it, make sure the bearings inside the pivot are clean and move freely. If they feel gritty or stuck, now is the time to replace them. Grease the bearings and the pivot bolt generously with a good quality waterproof grease. Slide the swing arm into place on the frame and insert the pivot bolt. Next, you'll attach the rear shock absorber, which connects the swing arm to the frame. This part controls the rear suspension's movement. With the swing arm in place, it's time to turn your attention to the front of the bike and install the steering components. This assembly is often called the triple clamp or triple tree. It consists of a lower clamp and upper clamp, and the steering stem that passes through the headstock of the frame. The bearings in the headstock are critical for smooth steering. Just like the swing arm bearings, inspect them carefully. If they are notched or worn, replace them. Pack the new or clean bearings with plenty of grease before installing the triple clamp assembly into the frame. Once the triple clamps are loosely in place, you can slide the front forks up through them and gently tighten the pinch bolts. At this stage, your project is starting to look like a motorcycle skeleton. You have a frame, a swing arm, and front forks. The final step in this section is to install the subframe. This is the smaller frame section that bolts to the rear of the main frame and supports the seat, tail section, and often the battery. On the Ninja 400, it's a relatively simple bolt-on affair. With the subframe attached, you can finally stand back and see the basic shape of your bike. It's a huge milestone that transforms your collection of parts into something with a real presence. Your chassis is now a rolling chassis in waiting, ready for its heart. Alright, so the engine is really the heart of your Ninja 400, and installing it into the frame is honestly one of the most exciting and, nerve-wracking steps of the build. The 399cc parallel twin engine is pretty compact, but trust me, it's still got some weight to it. This is definitely a job where an extra pair of hands is highly recommended. Having a friend there to help you lift and guide the engine into place will save your freshly prepped frame from scratches, and, more importantly, it'll help prevent any injuries. Before you get started, take one last look at the engine mounting points, both on the frame and the engine itself. Make sure they're totally clean and free of any debris, paint, or grime that could mess up a perfect fit. Getting the engine into the frame is kind of a careful dance. You'll need to lift the engine and slowly maneuver it into the frame cavity. On the Ninja 400, the engine actually acts as a stressed member, so it's a key part of the frame structure and needs to be lined up perfectly. Start by loosely inserting the main engine mounting bolts. Don't tighten anything down just yet. You'll want to wiggle and adjust the engine until all the bolts can be threaded in by hand. This way, you avoid cross-threading anything and make sure the engine isn't under any stress. Definitely refer to your service manual for the correct sequence for inserting and tightening the bolts. Once all the engine mounting bolts are in place and hand-tight, you can move on to the final tightening sequence. This is where your torquey wrench becomes your best friend. The service manual will give you the exact torque specs for each engine mounting bolt, and it's super important to follow them precisely. Over-tightening can damage the threads or stress the engine casings, and under-tightening can let the engine move, which could lead to some sketchy handling problems. Tighten the bolts in the sequence specified in the manual, working in stages to bring each bolt up to its final torque value. That way, the engine seats evenly and securely in the frame. With the engine securely bolted in, you've hit a major milestone. Your motorcycle now has its power plant, its very soul. Now you can start connecting the components that make the engine work. That includes attaching the throttle bodies to the intake ports on the cylinder head. You'll also need to install the radiator and all the coolant hoses that run between the engine, the radiator, and the water pump. Take your time here. Make sure all the hose clamps are tight and that the hoses are routed correctly, without any kinks or sharp bends. Your project now has a heart, and pretty soon, you'll be giving it a voice by installing the exhaust system. Your project is, about to look a whole lot more like a real motorcycle. It's time to get it on its own two wheels. Before you even think about mounting the tires, give the wheels a good inspection. Check for any dents or cracks, especially right on the rim where the tire seats. Make sure the wheel bearings spin smoothly, without any weird noises or roughness. If they don't, now's honestly the perfect time to swap them out while the wheels are off the bike. Once you're happy with the wheels, go ahead and have your new tires mounted. Seriously, this is a job best left to a professional tire shop. They've got the right equipment to mount and balance the tires without messing up your wheels or the tires themselves. With fresh rubber on your wheels, you can start with the rear wheel installation. It's a pretty straightforward process. You'll slide the rear wheel up into the swing arm, being careful to get the brake caliper bracket over the brake disc. Then, slide the rear axle through the swing arm, the wheel, and the chain adjusters. Before you tighten the axle nut, you need to install the drive chain. Loop the chain over the front sprocket, which is attached to the engine's output shaft, and the rear sprocket on the wheel. Attach the master link to connect the chain, then use the chain adjusters on the swing arm to set the correct chain tension. You'll find the spec in your service manual. Now, let's move up front. Installing the front wheel is really similar to the rear. Guide the wheel up between the fork legs, making sure the brake disc slides into the brake caliper. If the brake pads are too close together, you can gently pry them apart with a flathead screwdriver. Once the caliper is over the disc, slide the front axle through the fork leg, the wheel hub, and into the other fork leg. Tighten the axle and the pinch bolts on the bottom of the forks to the correct torque specs. With both wheels on, your motorcycle can finally support its own weight. You can take it off the lift and put it on its side stand for the first time, which, trust me, is a super satisfying moment. Finally, you need to install and connect the brakes. This is, hands down, the most important safety system on your motorcycle. Bolt the brake calipers securely to the forks and the swing arm bracket. Attach the new brake lines, running them from the calipers up to the master cylinders on the handlebars and the rear set. The next step is to fill and bleed the brake system. This gets all the air out of the brake lines, which is absolutely essential for a firm and responsive brake lever. Follow the procedure in your service manual carefully, using fresh, sealed DOT or brake fluid. Pump the brake lever until it feels firm and solid, and double-check every connection for leaks. Your Ninja 400 is now a rolling chassis, and it's got the ability to stop. If the engine is the heart, the wiring harness is honestly like the nervous system of your motorcycle. This can seem like, the most intimidating part of the build, with its web of wires and connectors. But don't worry, it's actually a logical process. The best way to start is by laying the main wiring harness out on the frame. The harness is shaped to fit the bike, so you can usually see how it's meant to be routed. Start from the front, near the headstock, and work your way back toward the tail. Secure the harness to the frame using zip ties or the original clips, but keep them loose for now. This will allow you to make adjustments as you start connecting everything. Begin connecting the major components one by one. The service manual's wiring diagram is your best friend here. It may look complicated at first, but it's color-coded, so that helps a ton. Start with the big, obvious connectors. Plug in the ECU, which is the bike's computer, the rectifier, or regulator, and the fuse box. Connect the large plugs that go to the engine, which control the fuel injectors, spark plugs, and various sensors. Then, connect the wires for the fuel pump, which is located in the fuel tank. At the front, you'll connect the main harness to the dashboard, the headlights, and the switchgear on the handlebars for the starter button, turn signals, and horn. Work slowly and methodically, making one connection at a time. With all the main components connected, it's time to install the battery. Make sure you connect it correctly. The red wire goes to the positive terminal, and the black wire goes to the negative terminal, which is usually grounded to the frame. With the battery connected, you can have your first power-on moment. Turn the key in the ignition. The dashboard should light up, and you should hear the quiet hum of the fuel pump priming. This is a huge step. Now, you can test the various electrical systems, check if the headlights, taillights, and brake lights work. Test your turn signals and your horn. If something doesn't work, don't panic. It's usually a missed connection or a blown fuse. Now you can troubleshoot any electrical gremlins. If a component isn't working, trace its wires back using the wiring diagram. Check that the connector is seated properly and that the pins inside are clean. Use a multimeter to check for continuity and to make sure power is getting to the component. Often the problem is simple. Once everything is working as it should, you can go back and neatly secure the entire wiring harness to the frame. Use plenty of zip ties to keep wires away from hot engine parts and any moving components like the chain or steering. A tidy wiring job is not only more reliable, but it's also a sign of a quality build. With the mechanical and electrical systems in place, your motorcycle is functional, but it doesn't look like a Ninja 400 yet. Now comes the fun part, dressing it up with bodywork. This is where the bike's personality truly comes to life. If you're using used plastics from a donor bike, they will likely have scratches or cracks. You can learn the art of plastic repair and painting, or you can take them to a professional body shop for a perfect finish. Alternatively, you can buy a full set of aftermarket fairings. These come in a huge variety of colors and graphic schemes, allowing you to create a look that's completely unique to your bike. Start by installing the fuel tank. Carefully lower it onto the frame, making sure not to pinch any wires or hoses underneath. Bolt it down securely and connect the fuel line and the electrical connector for the fuel pump. Next, you can begin attaching the fairings, usually starting with the tail section. These plastic pieces fit together like a puzzle. Be patient and don't force anything. Use all the correct screws, plastic rivets, and rubber grommets. These small pieces are important, as they prevent the plastics from vibrating and cracking. Work your way forward, installing the side fairings and then the front upper fairing that houses the headlight. This is also the time to install all the final control and comfort items. Attach the clutch lever and brake lever assemblies to the handlebars. Install your foot pegs and the rear brake and gear shift levers, often called rear sets. Make sure to adjust the gear shift lever and rear brake pedal to a position that feels comfortable for you. Install the rider and passenger seats. Finally, you can add any personal touches you've planned. This could be a new, more comfortable set of grips, stylish bar-end mirrors, or a fender eliminator kit to tidy up the rear of the bike. These small details are what make the motorcycle truly yours. The final touch is the paint and graphics. If you've had your fairings professionally painted, this step is as simple as carefully installing them. If you've opted for an aftermarket fairing kit, it will likely come pre-painted and with a set of decals for you to apply. Applying decals requires a steady hand and a bit of patience. Use a solution of soapy water to help you position the decal perfectly before you squeegee out the bubbles. Once the last piece of bodywork is on and the last decal is applied, take a step back. The collection of parts in your garage has been transformed into a complete, stunning Kawasaki Ninja 400, built by you. Before you even think about starting the engine for the first time, you need to perform a thorough safety check of your entire build. This is honestly the most critical step in the entire process. Go over every single nut and bolt on the motorcycle. Use your torque wrench to double-check the critical fasteners, engine mounts, axle nuts, brake caliper bolts, and handlebar clamps. Make sure nothing is loose. Grab the handlebars and try to twist them. There should be no play. Push and pull on the wheels from the side to check for any play in the wheel bearings or swing arm pivot. Your life depends on the mechanical integrity of this machine, so be meticulous. Next, conduct a full fluid check. Make sure the engine is filled with the correct amount and type of new motorcycle oil. Check the coolant level in the radiator and the overflow reservoir. Most importantly, recheck your brake fluid level in both the front and rear master cylinders. Squeeze the brake levers firmly. They should feel solid, not spongy. A spongy feel means there is still air in the lines, and you must bleed the brakes again. Look under the bike for any signs of leaks. Check around the oil filter, the drain plug, and all the brake line connections. It's much easier to fix a small leak now than to discover it on the road. When you are 100% confident in your mechanical checks, it's time for the first start. Roll the bike outside to a well-ventilated area, turn the key, let the fuel pump prime, put the bike in neutral, and press the starter button. The engine might take a few seconds to fire up as fuel makes its way through the system. Don't panic if it doesn't start immediately. Once it does, let it idle and listen carefully. Listen for any strange noises, like knocking or ticking. Watch for any warning lights on the dash. Let the engine warm up for a few minutes, keeping a close eye on the temperature gauge and continuing to check for any leaks. Troubleshooting during this phase is all about observation. If the bike won't start, go back to basics. Is there fuel in the tank? Is the battery charged? Is the kill switch in the run position? If the engine runs poorly, it could be a sensor that isn't plugged in correctly, or a vacuum hose that's disconnected. If you see a leak, shut the engine off immediately, and fix it. The key is to be patient and methodical. Don't get frustrated. Every problem has a solution. Working through these initial teething issues is part of the building process, and will deepen your understanding of how your motorcycle works, making you a more confident and capable owner. The moment has arrived. You've built it, you've checked it, and it runs. It's time for your first ride. For this momentous occasion, choose a safe and controlled environment. A large, empty parking lot is ideal. Before you go, put on all your riding gear: helmet, jacket, gloves, pants, and boots. Your first ride is not the time to push the limits. The goal is to get a feel for the bike and to make sure everything is working correctly in a real-world setting. Start by riding slowly in a straight line. Test the brakes gently, both front and rear. Feel how the clutch engages and how the transmission shifts through the first couple of gears. As you ride around the parking lot, pay close attention to how the bike feels and sounds. Does the steering feel smooth and predictable? Does the suspension feel balanced? Are there any new vibrations or noises that weren't there at idle? Practice some slow, gentle turns. This initial shakedown ride is crucial for identifying any final adjustments that need to be made. Perhaps the clutch lever needs a little adjustment, or the idle speed is a bit too high. Ride for about 15 to 20 minutes, then bring the bike back to your workshop for another thorough inspection. Check again for any leaks and look for anything that might have loosened up from the vibration. Once you're confident that the bike is solid, you can venture out onto quiet local streets. Remember that many parts on your bike are brand new, including the tires and brake pads. New tires have a slippery coating that needs to be worn off, and new brake pads need to be bedded in to achieve full stopping power. Ride gently for the first 100 miles. Avoid hard acceleration, hard braking, and aggressive cornering. This break-in period is important for the long-term health of the engine and other components. It also gives you time to get fully accustomed to your new machine. Building a motorcycle is just the beginning of the journey. Maintaining it is an ongoing commitment. Your owner's manual is your guide to a long and happy life with your Ninja 400. Follow the recommended service schedule for oil changes, chain adjustments, and valve checks. Regularly inspect your tire pressure, brake pads, and fluid levels. Because you built this bike yourself, you have a unique advantage. You know every part of it intimately. This makes regular maintenance less of a chore and more of a conversation with your creation. Take pride in your work, ride safely, and enjoy the incredible freedom and satisfaction that comes from riding a motorcycle you built with your own two hands.